Daenerys going mad in the Game of Thrones TV show is one of the most hated plot twists in all of fiction. Daenerys went from like freeing slaves and having decent morals to being like, let me burn some random people, for like, reasons and stuff. And it just didn't make any sense. And people had so many questions like, was Daenerys always destined to do this? Was Daenerys like always the villain? Was Daenerys just on her period? That would explain a lot. And the actress herself, Emilia Clarke, shared her thoughts. And we actually find out that later on, Emilia Clarke was kind of basically betrayed by the writers. The writers never told her about this plot twist, which I'll get to later on, but a lot of book readers, including me, have always had the question of, is this going to happen in the books? Will Daenerys go sicko mode in the books? And luckily for us, we do have a lot of answers, and even from the author George R. R. Martin himself. George R. R. Martin has confirmed that he had given the ending of the stories to the TV show writers David and Dan when season 3 was about to air. And that's going to give us a lot of answers, and if or if not, Daenerys will go mad in the books. Now the first thing we have to talk about, and the most important thing to clarify from the show version, even if Daenerys goes mad in the books, it will not be like this. Daenerys in the TV show was basically like a school shooter, just taking out all of her anger and years of black oppression onto the people of King's Landing. This is terrible writing. This is something that like Fortnite would do to like Tilted Towers when the game is dying. And I am so confident that this is not how it's going to happen in the books. If this is how it happens in the books, God strike me down. God give me HIV. God give me peanuts because I'm allergic to them. Because I absolutely 100% know that this is not how it's going to happen in the books. I mean, even the actors said themselves they didn't expect this plot twist at all. Or like Emilia Clarke, who plays Daenerys on the show, who I actually kind of feel bad for because she's kind of like forced into defending her ending. And is kind of forced to try and make it make sense for everyone.
It's so natural for a person to retort to anger. And so that's exactly where she goes. And it's there. It's always been there. It's what's driven her throughout everything.
I guess I didn't see particularly that Dany would just firebomb the city.
There's a part of Tyrion at that moment that completely dies.
Like, it's very obvious that ending for Daenerys made no sense at all. You could tell that the actors were relieved when they could stop falsely hyping season 8 up because of their contracts. If they weren't under contract, they would say don't watch season 8 unless you want to become an alcoholic and lose your faith in God. So yeah, either way, Daenerys going mad in the books or not, the thing we can conclude for sure is that it's not going to happen like this. And this is technically confirmed. Believe it or not, this was technically confirmed by David and Dan, the writers of the Game of Thrones TV show, the same writers who wrote this Daenerys plot twist. Believe it or not, these writers never actually told Emilia Clarke, hey, you're not gonna believe this, your character is low-key just gonna turn into Thanos in the last 2 episodes, hopefully you're cool with that. Because they knew Emilia Clarke would never agree to the character assassination of Daenerys. But here's the craziest part, a YouTuber by the name of Dragon Demands, this dude did some like undercover FBI research. This dude turned into like Doctor Strange and he found out the original script of season 8 for Daenerys. And when I mean original script, it's essentially the same script from the famous video, the famous video where they're all like doing a table read for season 8? And the actors are debating if they should all just like quit right now so they can save the role from the final season? Yeah, we have the original full script of that. And in that full original script, the ones that the actors agreed to, it never said anything about Daenerys going mad. And it never said anything about Daenerys even burning civilians on purpose.
In the original filming script, most of the destruction of King's Landing is not directly caused by Daenerys Targaryen, but by a wildfire chain reaction, that green napalm stuff, that she accidentally sets off in the crossfire, and which then explicitly spreads out of control. This was also confirmed by the Blu-ray commentary by the VFX team for this episode, in which they outright state this is a change. These shots of Dragonfire were originally green wildfire. This could not be us misinterpreting the script, because it is phrased, you read it and go, wait a minute, are they even describing the same thing? The VFX commentary confirms they are not describing the same thing. And when you have both in hand, looking at it, you realize this was the original version. The script confirms that. This is objective and not a fan theory. It never specifies Daenerys is firing on crowds of only civilians, massacring innocent women and children. It never says that. It does say Daenerys is firing on crowds of Lannister soldiers who have civilians intermixed with them, and civilians are getting killed in the crossfire. Civilians are dying, but she isn't in a rampage or berserk. She's angrily killing the Lannister soldiers and not realizing a lot of people are getting killed in the crossfire. And the dragon fire that she set off, which did kill some civilians in the crossfire, then ignites all the wildfire caches that are hidden throughout the city, which then start a chain reaction, and suddenly the entire city is going up.
So glad we got that out of the way. But the craziest part with Daenerys going mad in the books is that we do know that George R. R. Martin, the author of the books, gave David and Dan an outline of what's gonna happen at the end of the books. And George himself has confirmed this. He confirmed it in like a behind the scenes book called Fire Cannot Kill a Dragon. This book is a really cool book. I haven't read it fully myself, but I know a lot about it, and I've talked about it so much on this channel. And I am gonna read it in a bit. I'm gonna read it after I finish a few other books. But one thing that was said in this book and was basically confirming that Big Dick George R. R. Martin himself is the one who gave the TV show writers the outline for the ending of the Game of Thrones books, A Song of Ice and Fire. It said that George R. R. Martin and David and Dan had a 3-day meeting in New Mexico. I was thinking of going there actually. But George gave them an outline during this meeting, and the meeting took over 3 days like I said. So it was a big outline most likely. And if you look at George over the recent years, it's very obvious he doesn't like talking about the future books in public, because he doesn't want to spoil anything. But he did confirm himself that he gave David and Dan the plot points, like Stannis burning his daughter, Hodor hold the door plot twist, and Bran the fucking broken being the king. These things are confirmed to happen in the future books. But what else did George give them? Is it possible that George gave them the ending of Daenerys? Daenerys going mad, dying by Jon and all that? Did George give them that too? Well, we do know from an interview with David and Dan and Emilia Clarke that David and Dan are planning the final episode of Game of Thrones for like 7 years, which is their words.
How long did it take to figure out the ending? Like this, the fallout of how it all goes down. Which bit did you do first?
You mean this bit?
No, just the whole last episode. How was this like? Were you thinking about this for like 7 months, 7 years? What was the
More like
7 years.
Yeah.
I mean, we were talking about the Jon and Danny fallout going back to. I remember talking about it with Dan in Morocco. You know, during was that prep for season 3 or something? So going way
I had
way
no
back.
idea.
Here's my theory, and it's a pretty good theory. It's not like the Flat Earth or anything, but I believe that the original script for season 8 is what George gave the writers for Daenerys. This makes sense because Daenerys in the books is a lot more grey of a character than she is in the first few seasons of the TV show. In the first few seasons, she doesn't really do anything that questioning besides that like one time she was burning alive a rape victim. Because that rape victim stood up against the leader of the rapists, like she essentially killed P. Diddy, Jeffrey Epstein, and all those Minecraft pedophile YouTubers. And what was her reward for killing a rapist? She gets burned alive by his wife Daenerys. But overall, that's the only really terrible thing Daenerys did on the TV show in the first few seasons. In the book, she does a lot more grayer of things, but I'm gonna explain that in another video that I have coming out, so sorry to blue ball you right there. But overall, I do believe that George R. R. Martin did give the burning of King's Landing in the original script. But the problem is that the writers didn't stick to it, which is weird because the writers foreshadowed it all the way back in season 2.
13! When my dragons are grown, we will take back what was stolen from me and destroy those who have wronged me. We will lay waste to armies and burn cities to the ground. Turn us away, and we will burn you first.
Ah, you are a true Targaryen.
I mean, technically in season 8, Daenerys burned a city to the ground, but she never gave like a speech where she's like, yes, I will burn children and murder children because I watched Revenge of the Sith and saw that Anakin kill children. I thought that was pretty cool. That didn't happen. And on a side note, this scene where Daenerys is giving her speech will show burn city to the ground. This scene doesn't exist in the books. Book Daenerys is way smarter than this. Way smarter than TV Daenerys. Book Daenerys knows that threatening people to death is not the best way to get invited to the cookout. So I do believe that George gave David and Dan the original ending of season 8, where Daenerys burns the Lannister soldiers, and while she's burning the Lannister army, she accidentally sets off the wildfire that her dad put there. And that's such a cool storyline if you think about it. Daenerys accidentally doing what her father did, and she'll be blamed for it by everyone. I mean, come on, isn't that much more cooler than what we got in the TV show? I mean, this does make sense. George said in an interview before season 8 that he doesn't think the TV show ending will be that different from the ending in the books. because even though the show deviated from the books, it's most likely when George was watching like season 6 and 7, he could sniff out that they were going to have the same ending, just a very different journey. Now the question that most of you probably have is, if George gave David and Daenerys accidentally burning King's Landing like it was a goddamn Minecraft wildfire, then did George also give them this scene as well? Did George also give them Jon Snow killing Daenerys? The scene that made a bunch of TikTok kids hate Jon Snow for some reason. And there's a lot to say for that. I mean, I gotta admit, if this scene happened in season 12 or 11, the scene would have actually been like pretty cool, not that bad. Like, this scene does have some dialogue that feels like George R.R. Martin level, I'm not gonna lie.
Not easy to see something that's never been before. The good world.
How do you know? How do you know it'll be good?
Because I know what is good. And so do you.
I know.
You do. You do. You've always known.
What about everyone else? All the other people who think they know what's good.
They don't get to choose.
Now, I already said in many videos I do believe Jon Snow will be the one to game end Daenerys in the books. It makes too much sense for me. And even though I do think Daenerys and honestly Jon are kind of bland in the last few seasons, I love them in the books. I'm not sure who I like more in the books. If I have to give an answer, if I had a gun to my head and a hammer to my balls, I would say I like Daenerys slightly more in the earlier books, but later on in the books I think I like Snow more. But either way, I'm only saying this to show that I'm not biased to anyone, because I genuinely think that Jon Snow will be the one to end Daenerys in the books, which is a pretty hot take in the community, especially after the TV show. And it's not just me, it's like kind of been foreshadowed.
Daenerys Targaryen has wed some Dothraki horse lord. What of it? Should we send her a wedding gift?
A knife, perhaps a good sharp one, and a bold man to wield it.
It makes too much sense, Jon Snow being the baby that Robert hated, the baby that Robert wanted dead, which is crazy to say, like, goddamn, did that baby fuck your girl or something, man, chill. But yeah, the baby that Robert wanted dead, officially ending the Targaryen line, something that Robert couldn't do. The son of Rhaegar, the guy that Robert killed, his child was the one to finish what Robert couldn't, the Targaryen line. And that's why Jon going back beyond the wall at the end of the story and releasing his Targaryen name, so the system doesn't repeat itself, it's pretty good. I have another video coming out on this, by the way, so watch out for that. But the question is, why is Jon gonna kill Dany? Well, I already made another video on this, but it's slightly outdated, but some of the points still stand. And yeah, like I said earlier, I have another video coming out on how I think Daenerys could be the villain without going mad. Because I don't think she's gonna go mad in the books, but that doesn't take away from her being a villain, because there's plenty of foreshadowing there. But to give a small hint, it mainly has to do with Tyrion and her advisors. Tyrion in the books is totally different from Tyrion on the show.
We all fail. We all make mistakes. It's what makes us human.
Like, kill yourself, nigga. Seriously, man. Murder yourself. Hang yourself, nigga. You serve no purpose.
Tyrion meeting Daenerys on the show is not how it's gonna happen in the books. In the TV show, Tyrion just goes to her and says, hey, you should let me help you because I'm the fan favorite character and you're a fan favorite character, and together we can sell so much merchandise. In the books, it's gonna be totally different. And in the books, this scene would never happen.
Cersei's followers will abandon her if they know the war is lost. Give them that chance. If the city surrenders, they will ring the bells and raise the gates. Please, if you hear them ringing the bells, call off the attack.
Or at least not with current day Tyrion, but it could happen once he loves Jaime again or something. But either way, I don't think Tyrion will drive her mad. He might drive her to be a villain, and George R.R. Martin has confirmed that Daenerys will embrace her dark Targaryen side in the future books, but I don't think she will go mad anytime soon. It's just not the way George writes, you know. George doesn't go for low-hanging fruits, and I hope this video made people give Daenerys a chance in the books. And yeah, that's it for this video. Like, subscribe, and peace.